At some point or another, I am sure that you've heard about the great, amazing benefits of exercise, especially for improving or maintaining our physical, yes, but also emotional and mental well-being. However, sometimes just hearing that something is beneficial for us isn't quite enough of a reason for us to actually engage in the activity. So that is why I'm here with you today to share 3 backed by science reasons why exercise is so very beneficial, not only for our physical health, but also for our mental and emotional well-being. Let's get to it. Number 1, exercise physically releases stress that has built up within the body. Back when I was completing my undergraduate degree in psychology, one of my professors recommended the book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. This is the book that really sparked my interest in anxiety and just the human nervous system in general. And you might even say that it's the reason for why I'm here with you today. In the book, the author talks about how the human body responds to threats and also why we were intended really to only be dealing with shorter spurts of stress rather than the chronic stressors that we deal with in today's society. Our threat response system actually works very similarly to other animal stress responses. However, we humans tend to respond quite differently to our stress response than other animals do. When an animal is physically threatened, their brain sends out a warning signal very similar to ours. And this warning signal kind of turns on these stress hormones called cortisol and adrenaline. Their brain also makes a very quick decision to either fight, run away, or shut down depending on the threat that is in front of them. These stress hormones really shift the body into an alert state, which helps them to think more quickly and respond more quickly to prepare to do what they need to do to survive. Now, I'm going to show a video for a second, so we're going to turn on to my computer.
Looks like a fatty. We'll go for that one, Dennis. Yeah, oh yeah, nothing.
The really interesting thing and the difference between animals and humans is that once the threat passes, the animal actually begins shaking as a means to expel the stress. Let's watch.
Watch that animal after he finishes convulsing. You'll see, because he's aware of the fact that we're all around him, and it's a very stressful experience for an animal like a polar bear. After he settles down, and then he'll start doing a couple of deep breaths, and then he'll breathe really nicely, and it'll here he goes. See how he's breathing there now? You see, so that even though it looks a little unpleasant to look at him convulsing like that, in fact, it lets off all that stress and he then is able to relax.
This same concept can actually be seen within somatic therapy techniques. It really deals with using the body to help heal trauma and process emotions. This stress response actually works quite similarly in us humans. However, we typically don't go through the same response to the stress as far as expelling it as other animals do. And actually, we kind of tend to do the opposite. We tend to get paralyzed by how uncomfortable our emotions, our thoughts, our physical sensations in response to the stress are, and we kind of get stuck there. So when we are engaging in physical activity on a regular basis, this gives the body an opportunity to expel that stress that maybe was from yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, depending on how regularly we are physically active. Regular physical activity also helps the nervous system to re-regulate, which basically just means that we can more effectively respond to stress and kind of move through the stress cycle a bit quicker, meaning that we're not going to feel heightened as long. We can kind of get into our parasympathetic state in a much quicker fashion than if we aren't regularly physically active. Number 2, exercise leads to increased cognitive flexibility, aka it's easier to think new thoughts, aka it's easier to rewire your brain. Not only does moving your body regularly help to decrease stress by expelling that cortisol that builds up in the body, but it also turns out this very powerful neurochemical called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I'm just gonna call it BDNF. Without getting overly sciencey here, BDNF basically helps us to think new thoughts, which means we can more easily think more maybe positive or helpful thoughts. It does this by helping our brain create brand new neural pathways and neural connections. New neural pathways equals brand new thoughts, as well as being able to see brand new perspectives. The power behind BDNF works as the basic foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm just gonna call it CBT. The gist of CBT is to identify our old thought patterns, the ones that were very helpful, very protective in nature, adaptive in nature, but now maybe aren't super helpful, and being able to see new perspectives so we can basically change our foundational beliefs to make them more truthful and in alignment with how we actually see the world today. You might be able to see how replacing these not so helpful thought patterns with brand new thought patterns could be pretty difficult if we don't have BDNF as our friend through this process. Because if we can't create new neural pathways, it's pretty hard to have new thoughts and therefore new beliefs. And last but definitely not least, exercise helps us build resilience. You know those times when you are engaging in activity and you come to a seemingly impossible hurdle that you have to overcome? Sometimes we have thoughts that stop us, like, I don't think I can do this. But maybe other times though, you have a thought of, well, maybe I can do this, let me give it a shot. When we take that chance and our performance far exceeds our expectations, this experience tells our brain that you are so much stronger than you think you are. Even though this may seem like a very small example, it is extremely powerful when we can tell our brain over and over again that you can do things that you did not think possible. So when we move our body regularly through exercise or sports, we are continually opening up that possibility of exceeding our own expectations. The next time you want a mental boost, try moving your body a few days a week and see if you notice any changes. Notice any changes to levels of irritability, how you respond to daily stressors, how much muscle tension you feel, the quality of sleep that you're getting, and how you might be speaking to yourself. All of these things can really impact our well-being, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And this truly can be just a practice of simple curiosity. Perhaps along the way you'll find different movement or rhythms or exercises that help you feel your best. I hope this information has been helpful for you and that it can lead to some positive changes in your life. And if you do like this content, please do go ahead and hit that like button. It really will go a long way in helping get this information to other individuals just like yourself. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have an awesome week and I will see you next time. In the book, the author talks about our threat response. Not only does regular movement help to